So you've come to learn how to create clubhead speed through force and torque, which we're going to cover in today's video so you can hit the ball further and better. Now, we're into video 2, so if you missed video 1, here's a link for that down below. In that video, we talked about horizontal or lateral force in your golf swing, and that is the first motion off of the golf ball, or maybe even before the golf ball. So you want to click on that. And then today we're going to talk about the second one, which is going to be torque. What is torque in the golf swing? Torque would be me putting force into the ground to create some more rotation into my body, into the swing. There's going to be anterior force, which is going to be in front of my body, and then there's posterior force, which is going to be behind my body. So if I ever talk about AP force, anterior is in the front, posterior is in the back. So if I was to push this foot this way, okay, that would be anterior push. If I was to drag or push my foot that way, that would be posterior push, just to get those out of the way. Now, how do we use these to create more clubhead speed? First things first is most people don't know when to create the torque or how to create the torque. So we're going to cover that and give you a couple of drills. When does it happen? Well, first thing first is as you work off of the golf ball, we want that lateral that we talked about, or horizontal, which we talked about in the first video. That happens first as you work off the golf ball. Now, how much depends on the shot that you're hitting. Driver more than iron, and then obviously with chipping and pitching and putting, it's even less. But we want to see some amount of that. And again, you might be putting it to the ground. You may not see it because you might do it really quickly. But we want some more of that horizontal or that lateral force. Then once the lateral force has happened, then we're going to start twisting, and that is the torque phase. Again, as I talked about in that first video, if you don't have force plates, you can use cereal boxes, just any slippery surface. If I put these down on the ground and I make a swing on these, and if you do this again, start really slowly, maybe do one at the beginning to see what happens. But if you make a full golf swing, and this is what your feet look like on a carpeted surfaces, you're not putting any force in the ground. And therefore, you're not creating enough clubhead speed because you're not creating that force from the ground through your legs out to the club. If I make a practice swing with the cereal boxes, it would look like that. Because as I work off the golf ball, I am putting force laterally, and then I'm also starting to put AP force, so torque. Again, if I got rid of that lateral force, it would look more like this, right? As I work off that golf ball. I get rid of these cards, and I do that same motion, but because my feet don't slide out, I get the resulting twist action. This would be torquing in the ground. That's what we want in your swing. Now, what are we looking for? Well, in the trail foot, as we work off of that golf ball, what we want to have is we want that force, again, we've got a little bit of that lateral, and then we want that trail foot going out this way. So I want you to get comfortable, feeling like, okay, I'm gonna push this foot out, then you get rid of that card, and you push that out, and that's going to drive this hip back. So we had combined a little bit of lateral motion with a little bit of that. And that's going to keep you, if you're a trail post golfer, we're going to cover this in the third video. That's going to get you loaded up into this trail side, which is really good. That's what you want. Then as we get to about lead arm parallel in that backswing, we want to make sure that we're shifting laterally back towards the target. Now here comes into the second bit. When does the second part of that torque happen? That happens once you recenter. I would say the biggest misconception that I see with golfers, and if we get on these cards, is they will work off the golf ball, they'll get up to the top of their backswing, and then they will just torque from there. That is a giant spin out. That's why most people are over the top, hands shoot out. It's not what we want. We need some amount of that lateral motion first, which is going to get you to fall back on that lead side. We should be back at least to 50-50 on that lead side. And as we're coming down into impact, between 80-85% of our pressure should be on that lead side as we then start applying that torque. We need that. That is super important. So if you watch yourself from face on and you get up to the top of your backswing and you do this, we don't need that. Again, video 1. Now, video 2, once you get up to the top of your backswing, then we're going to feel like, okay, around lead arm parallel, we're going to start shifting into that pressure back on the lead side. You're going to fall back onto that lead side. Once you fall back onto that lead side, this lead foot is going to start pushing out this way. And let's say there was a clock face and 12 o'clock was down the target. I want you to push out somewhere about 1 o'clock, 1:30 with that lead foot. And the trail foot is going to be the counter to that. I don't know if you've ever seen golfers where they get up to the top of their backswing, and if it's dewy out, the right foot slips out this way. That's because they're putting posterior force into the ground. They're pushing that trail foot back. And so as you get up to the top, we're falling at the lead side. We want that action happening. And if I get on these, they're actually a little bit grippy on those force plates, but as you get up to the top, that action. And more is going to be through the lead leg than the trail side. The lead side does like something like 30% more of that torque force. Trail side's important, but mostly it's the lead side. So if we're going to focus on the lead side, once you get up to the top of your backswing, once you've recentered and put that pressure on that lead side, again, we're driving that foot out towards 1 o'clock. Get up to the top, recenter, drive it out. Get up to the top, recenter, drive it out. Then you can get rid of that card. If I do that same motion, I get up to the top, I recenter, and I drive off it. See how that moves me back? That forces my hips to open as it drives me away from that golf ball. That's what you want. If you early extend because you're not pushing into the ground enough, this is a fantastic drill. This is going to get that torque force through that roof. Now, another drill that you can do, which is really, really good, is, and I'll just set this up in a second. I'll probably just move this camera over so you can see it a little bit better. And I use this all the time. Now, if you're by yourself, you just got to set up a fitness band into a door frame. Then you're going to take your club and you're going to put it just around your butt. I saw Dr. Scott Lynn of Swing Catalyst do this. It's a great drill. All you're going to do is you're just going to put this club right on that butt. And then you're going to make a little backswing. As you make the backswing, just make sure you keep the tension on this fitness band. Now, as you start working into your downswing, how can you pull this fitness band like again, don't pull it out of the door, but how could you feel like you pull it out of the door, right? I can't just spin my hips to do that. That'll pull me closer to the door. This would be early extension. This is not what we want, right? I want to feel like, okay, how would I push into the ground, okay, to pull that band back? That's what we're looking for. This is a huge torque into that ground with that lead foot. Again, I can feel like I'm doing it with my trail foot too, but it is primarily through that lead foot, and again, out towards that 1 o'clock. Then we just drop that fitness band, grab your club and go, all right, now can I feel that same feeling once I've fallen? Oh yeah, there it is, right? That is a huge torque. That's gonna open up this lead hip, get those hands to clear down and through, and increase that club head speed. These drills will for sure help you increase your club head speed so you can hit the ball further. And then as you get more comfortable, you're gonna hit further and better. If you have any questions about these, let me know in the comments below. If you need any one-on-one coaching, find me on the Skills app. I'd love to help you out.